Good morning, it's Jessie Dujari at Morning Oasis from Healing Pathwalkers. Good morning. Last night was a hard night to sleep. Did anybody else have a hard time sleeping last night? I'm curious because it was really hard for me to sleep last night. It was hard to get to sleep. It was hard to stay asleep. I kept waking up throughout the night, and it wasn't like I had to get up and go to the bathroom or anything. I just kept waking up, and I'd lay there and lay there and lay there, and I'd just end up meditating, and then I'd wake up again. So yeah, last night was a hard night to sleep, and I'm just curious if other people were noticing that. I also noticed my husband seemed like he was kind of waking up a bit, and this morning came really early, and I was up early. So anyway, it's an interesting day. Today I thought, we didn't have any requests for card pulls between yesterday and today, so I'm going to go ahead and just move right into the topic. Today I thought I'd call today's show, What's the Point? People ask me this all the time. What's the point? Why do you even do what you do, Jessie? What is the reason that you're doing this? So I thought that's something that we could kind of talk about. And, as always, if you have things that you want to contribute to this conversation, feel free to comment them. I welcome that. But one of the things, one of the first questions that I get asked the most is like, what are you even doing? Like, what is it that you do? Hi, good morning, Andrea. So much love to you. What is it that I do? What do I call what I do? That's like the hardest thing to frame. They call it finding your elevator speech or your elevator pitch, right? Like in 15 seconds, can you summarize what you do? So that's something I've been working on summarizing since I started Healing Pathwalkers, because you're trying to describe your business to people. And it was so challenging at first. I think I took maybe 4 paragraphs, way more than 15 seconds. So now what is the point? Well, here's what I feel the point of my work is. 1, to learn how to release all the beliefs and identities of myself that I used to limit myself with, that would hold me back or that would create suffering unnecessarily in my life. I believe that that's the whole point of consciousness expansion, is to release those things. That's it. And as you release them, what happens automatically is that who you truly are starts to show up and manifest. And for me, the process of guiding others through that is the most beautiful thing I've ever done in my life. Second to having my son, honestly, it's beautiful. It's like helping somebody birth into themselves. Now, that process is undescribable if you haven't actually gone through it. And there's lots of ways that humans go through this process. Oftentimes, it's through hardship. When we have something that really truly challenges and defines and limits us, let's say we have a defining characteristic. I'm a big person, so that's a defining characteristic. When I enter a space, people make assumptions about me. People view me in a certain way. I even had one person, a friend that I trusted and loved and really felt connected to, tell me that they would never follow my teaching because they would look at my body and see that I had no idea what I was doing. I needed to work on that. That was an obvious sign that I didn't have my own life under control. And that wounded me so deeply, that was one, and it redefined me. But it wasn't because of him. It wasn't because that person said it. It was because it was my deepest fear, my deepest belief. Oh, good morning, Nicole. My own personal limiter was, can I show up as a teacher and still be a large person? Can I show up and be this person that says, let me help you find a better way to live your life, a way that you enjoy living your life. Let me help you find the adventure and exploration in your life, right? Can I show up as that in this form? Well, of course I can. And as I doubted myself, I called to me this person who was going to show me that doubt on the external, because I wasn't actually dealing with it on the internal. I had rejected it. I pretended it wasn't there. I wasn't really looking at the belief. I was letting it limit me, but I wasn't aware that that run program was going in the background. So what I have found is that people who have some sort of defining characteristic, they tend to develop this true, profound sense of self anyway. That's their great challenge that they have to overcome and surmount. And by doing so, they step into who they are. Now, not all of us are gifted with such a beautiful thing that forces us to deal with ourselves, to deal with what's in front of us, to deal with who we are. Some of us actually get kind of put in these little bodies that are, perfect and that work great and their lives kind of just flow, and any little thing that comes along is a huge upset for them because they're kind of used to things just happening for them. It's also becoming more and more prevalent in our culture for this newer generation that's growing into adulthood. They have, I just oddly enough found a video this morning that was perfectly in alignment with what I was thinking about today anyway, talking about the millennial generation, and one of their biggest struggles is their entitlement, and that they're raised in a parenting system that's a failed system that teaches them that they're special no matter what that they do. When you have to earn your place, and by earn, all of us have the right to be loved and valued and cherished. But our accomplishments must also be credited. And if we aren't working towards an accomplishment, then what is it that we are building for ourselves? When others build for us, it's a very weak platform because they can take back what they've built, right? It's not yours. You don't own it. And that goes back to the conversation we had many weeks back about integrity. So what are you trying to achieve in this work? I'm trying to figure out all the parts of myself that run on autopilot, that operate in the background, that cut away at my sense of self, that make me feel small and diminished. And by doing so, I release the people around me from holding the obligation of playing out those externalized roles. That's a big statement, right? There's a lot of information in that. So let's think about it for a second. When we have people that come to us, like that friend of mine who blessed me with showing me in a mirror exactly how stubborn I was, exactly how self-defeating and self-critical I was, and exactly how I was defeating myself and preventing myself from showing up to do the work I came here to do. Clearly my path work. That was a gift. Now, did I see it as a gift when it happened? No. My fingers were out. You are so mean. You're so critical. You're so judgmental. How dare you say that? How dare you speak to me like that? How dare you give me your own? Like, I get that you think that about yourself and you think that about me, right? We have all those defenses. We all have them. It's clear and easy to see when somebody else has stepped over the line, that boundary of, this is an unacceptable behavior. You are not going to behave this way in my life, right? However, would it really matter to us if it wasn't highlighting a belief we already held about ourselves? And that's the whole point of the law of attraction. That's the whole point, the undercurrent point of mirroring, of shadow work, of law of attraction. These are all languages, terms, toolboxes with which you can look at this system, where when we refuse or reject from ourselves a part that needs to be validated. So what needed to be validated, he was coming to me with this statement about a criticism about me, and he was telling me his criticism, right, that he held, but that's really my little girl saying, can you love me even though I'm fat? Can you love me even though I'm not what you want me to look like? And that's the little girl I had to see. And that's the little girl I had to find a way to love and see her beauty. And as I found that, as I found her, pounds shed off, beliefs shed away, and I was able to show up more and more authentically with my clients, with my friends, with my family. Does that mean everything went easy and perfect and smooth? Of course not. Authentic showing up does not equal happiness. Okay? Authentically showing up in a situation does not mean that situation is going to go perfectly or smoothly. And if that's the belief that you hold, that happiness is in the perfect moments, the smooth moments, you're going to be struggling. I struggle with that one. It's for me too, always for me as well. So what can you hope to achieve through this sort of work, through energy work, through consciousness work, through meditation? It's not ease, but it is grace, right? It's grace walking through the battlefield. It's grace swimming through the sludge. And what is grace? Knowing that you're not alone, knowing that you're loved and supported, knowing that this part is also perfect, because this is the part that strips away the belief that I thought I couldn't survive this. Some of us had huge survival lessons in our lives. I don't know about you, but I run out of fingers when I start counting, how did I survive this? Before I was 10, right? Like, oh my God, how did I survive that car accident? How did I not fall off that cliff when that angel grabbed my butt jacket and pulled me back? How did I not die when my horse fell? How did I not drown that time? How did I not get swept under the ocean current in that riptide? And how did I make it back to the shore that day? Right? How did I survive being abandoned, being abused, being used, being mistreated? That was my battlefield. And I endured that battlefield, not always gracefully, not always dignifiedly, but I endured it. And it taught me how strong I am. And it taught me what it looks like to survive. And it brought me to a state of deep compassion for other individuals. It developed my empathy. I'm able to step into a room and feel that room. Not only can I feel that room, but I can influence that room with my energy. I've since learned to do less of that. However, I learned I was that mighty. I would have never learned any of that about myself had I not endured, had I not survived. We meet people who have never been tested. We've lost that part of our culture that tries and tests us. It's been litigated away, right? We're protected from ourselves now. We have laws that are like just built around, please don't kill yourself. Please don't be an idiot, right? We no longer are tested anymore. So the testing then comes in these other ways where we check out to each other and we don't know how to interact and we don't know how to connect and we don't know how to relate. Consciousness work shows you how connected you are to that other person. As soon as you start looking at yourself and start looking at the autopilot programs that are running under the surface, you see how that person who's standing across from you undoubtedly is all the parts of yourself that you judge and reject and desire and wish to be. All of it, all wrapped up into that person. And that's why we hate and love the people that come into our lives, right? And it's always there. There's always this judgment and love. And until we can release that, we're going to keep getting opportunities to practice it. And we're going to get those opportunities and they're going to feel like, oh my God, everything is happening to me and it's breaking around me and everyone is hurting me and I am, oh, me. And that's the empowered victimhood stance. I lived there for 3 decades of my life. I'm so familiar with this place. Coming out of this place, the only way I found after 10 years of therapy, after 15 years of personal study through school and on my own of psychology and neurodevelopment and neuroscience and just trying to understand how the human brain and human psyche works so I could put mine back together. I wasn't able to until I started doing consciousness work, until I started to recognize there's energy behind all of it. That my DNA which tells my cells how to reproduce themselves, has a frequency to it. It's actually like a whole opera of me, the Jessie opera. And it's being tuned as it's being played through my consciousness. Learning that, learning how to do that, learning how to play with that has changed my life, has made it impossible for me to keep rejecting those little parts of me that show up in the faces of the people that come to my door, that come to my mirror. And that's the point. It's not to be more happy. Happiness comes because it's a part of the opera. But have you ever heard an opera that didn't also contain deep sorrow, deep pain, deep testing, and deep trials? So the very most important lesson I would have to say that I try to convey to everyone I encounter is to embrace those things that feel like they're breaking you. I'm going to tell you guys just a piece of my own personal story because I think that's why you connect with me and I connect with you, because I am willing to show up and share and be transparent. My husband and I, we love each other very much, and we struggle in that love because we are, let's see, how he describes it is we're both 2 rocket ships and we work completely differently. And we both are on a trajectory that is out of this world. And it's really hard for anyone to ride a rocket ship from the outside. But it's even harder when you're your own rocket ship. And so with us, we go big places. We go big fights. We go big love. We go big. And we faced a big, wake-up call recently. A huge one. Where the choice really had to be made. Are you in or are you out? Are we an armada? Are we solo journeys, right? And the question had to be seen, and it had to be looked at, and it had to be faced. And it was very stripping. And that was the other day when I showed up and you guys got to see me all puffy-eyed, right? And me in a low space. I think it was even yesterday. But over that course of the day where we had to face that, it was really 2 days because you didn't get to see that part. But through that, we actually stripped away all the parts that we'd built up of beliefs about each other and had to look at who the other person had evolved into and decide, do we like that person? And it completely shifted the whole energy in our home. It completely shifted everything about the way we're even relating to each other and ourselves. It's one more step out of that victimhood empowered place where I get to scream my head off because you hurt me so deeply. I get to be limited because my exposure was so traumatic. I get this excuse to not show up in my most authentic space because fill in the blank. Stepping out of that, that's what I try to do for you guys. And that's what all of my work is about, is how do we get out of these states and how do we move forward and project ourselves in our lives authentically. So that said, that was a lot. So I thought today, you know, when I was kind of trying to feel around what will today's show be, you know, and each day these little morning oases, they're not just for you guys, they're for me as much as they are for you. And I know I say that a lot, but I really mean it, and I'm super grateful, because if you guys weren't showing up and appreciating it and finding value and substance in it, then I wouldn't keep doing it. And for me, everything that comes through in this conversation, I don't even know what I'm going to say. It comes through because it's what I need to hear. It's the confirmation that I need. It comes through because it's what you need to hear, and I don't know that I need it. And it's always that way. And so thank you guys. I want to again thank you guys for showing up, and all of your guys' messages. Like, seriously, I'm gonna cry, but like, they're so awesome. Like, seriously, you guys, the things that you share with me and the things that you say, they sometimes like make my day, you know, because we aren't perfect and we all need that confirmation. So thank you. So today our meditation is going to be on karmic debris. We're going to do some collective purging of karmic debris. Each one of us who are here today and who are watching this at any point hold our own package of debris for source. I love you too, Nicole. Seriously, lady, I love you. I'm sorry I couldn't come to your party last night. I was doing other bigger work for me. So we each hold this, our perspective, our unique piece of source that we're here experiencing, so that source knows what it is to walk through the shoes of Jessie, through the shoes of you. And as it walks through these shoes, what is it to find itself again? And what are the ways it blocks itself from finding itself? So today we're going to work on recognizing how much of that debris that I hold, you also hold. We're going to work on that shared human debris of karma and just cleansing it out and seeing what we can't accomplish to help all of us shift forward in this ascension process with a little bit more grace, with a little bit more allowance, and step out of that victimhood, of that 3D expression, step out of the victimhood space of what's happening around us and how it's defining us, and into a space where we feel empowered even when it's in a breaking, even when everything is crumbling. So, collective purge of karmic debris was what came through. Thank you, Andrea. I love you. You've been with me like since the beginning. Love you, darling. Love you. Andrea, you're one of those people who, watching you grow and how well you handle and shift and change and show up. I love it. Thank you so much. It's been beautiful being a part of your journey. Okay, so I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Get yourself comfortable. We're going to start our meditation a little bit early, but maybe it's a big one. I'm guessing so. Okay, let's go ahead and check our posture. Make sure we're sitting comfortably. Make sure that we feel comfortable as much as we can. Taking a few deep breaths, breathing in and exhaling. Breathing in deeper and exhaling. Breathing in and noticing how each time you breathe in it gets deeper and your exhalation a little longer. And exhaling. Breathing in and exhaling. Good. And begin to feel that tree around you. It's already there, supporting you. Its trunk is tall and strong. Feeling your roots reaching down, tapping into that circulatory system of energy that's already flowing. You already are completely grounded. And allow that heavy debris that already is starting to kind of come down through that circulatory system down to the roots. Let it flush out as you feel your crown open and already connected. Already pulling in that source consciousness, fully integrated. Very good. Feel the waters flowing through you as Archangel Gabriel comes in. He's so much a part of cleansing and releasing. He's one of our hierarchical angels, so we all stem from him. Flowing that energy through the body. If you're noticing thoughts or feelings, sensations in the body, just observe them, don't resist them. If they need to speak, let them. If you need to adjust, do so. Meditation is not passive. Meditation is an interaction with the self. Allow the body to show you what it needs as you shift more and more present, more and more aware. Notice how the breath now is coming all the way down into the root and releasing from the crown. We're going to focus in now on our heart space, on that heart chakra. Remembering through our roots we connect to Gaia, through our crown we connect to Source, and through our heart we connect to each other. Open up that heart chakra as you allow yourself to project out and tap into that web of interconnected consciousness, of all of the shared human experience, that collective consciousness. Feel it like a web stretching out from you. Feel your point of intersection on that web, your node, your spot within the greater fabric. I want you to take time and feel this fabric What colors are around you? Are there holes? Is it a strong weave? Or is it loose? Just observe, not with judgment, not for seeking any perfection or desire of what you wish it to be as I release my own judgment. Just for observation. Because different fabrics are for different things, right? A super loosely woven fabric is a perfect net. Not so perfect for warmth. What do you need? What is your fabric showing you that you need, that you're doing, that's a part of your work? Feel how your fabric and the fabric of those around you, the collective, is weaving together. How seamless it is. Just observe. Notice the threads of your fabric that are actually interwoven in all the fabric around you, in the collective, the shared strands, the color. As you begin to become more aware, release the concept of the self for just this time. Release your point of focus of the self and allow the fabric to be you, the whole one. As you observe, call into focus the karmic debris, this kind of debris of beliefs, kind of leftover pieces, fragments of maybe fuzz that didn't get cleared out from that weaving. Notice the debris, call it into focus, give it a color, assign it a look, a vibration. Just call that debris into focus as though you're looking at that fabric and determining, where do I want to clean? What parts do I want to look at? Now, just as though you are the master weaver, the great mother spider, call all of that fabric in, and you're going to have a great big washing cauldron, big one, a universe-sized cauldron. And we're going to bring that fabric all together, all of us together, for a nice warm bath. We're going to call into this bath all the vibrational frequencies, the other entities and consciousnesses that want to support us in this cleansing as we release this debris of having to be a three-dimensional being, of having to endure being alone, feeling only our one point, of having to endure separation, of having to endure hardship, releasing these karmic pieces that we no longer need to carry forward as we step more into our divine body, our divine light, our divine selves, our whole selves. And let us just soak in this water with each other, with ourselves. I'm going to do some energy work at this time while we all sit in this space. If you want to receive it, feel free to open yourself up to it. If you would rather do the work yourself, then don't receive. It's up to you. If you feel drawn to do any work on this cauldron yourself, please contribute. All of us have our own pieces that we're here to deliver as you tune in to that great cauldron. Feel those waters cleansing and releasing, washing away. And as we pull the plug on the bottom of that cauldron and let the water flow, it's just flowing down into Gaia, being received and recycled, converted back into Gaia's energy, reused as we flush and rinse, calling in those source waters to rinse and cleanse all this garment, this fabric of collective consciousness. Let's wring it out, really getting all the rest of that stuff out of there, wringing it, releasing. And just like we're that grandmother spider cleaning up her fabric weaved, we're going to shake it and clear it out, open it up, allow it to spread back out across all of the creation as it opens and unfurls. Call in that warm sun, that warm creation light to dry and warms as the fabric spreads and stretches. And let's just hold this space for a time. Explore that fabric a little bit. Look out around you. Who else, is in your weave? Feel how there's a tighter clustering around you, and then reaching out, there's those beyond. Feel the difference. Just take note of the theme. Is there a story in the weave around you? Just observe. Ask to be shown. How can I support this fabric the best? As you come back into your space, the you point in the fabric, and looking from you out, your perspective. Remember to breathe. And as you come more clear into yourself, more clear into your story, allow the Creator to now drop in their story, the Creator's vision of you, how the Creator views your perspective, your piece of that collective garment, the collective consciousness. Allow yourself to see yourself as the Creator, as Source sees you. And let it in. This one's big, so remember, if you feel the need to support your body or your vessel or yourself, do so. Feel that love and gratitude that the Creator holds for all that you've endured in your life, for all the perspective that you've experienced and held. Feel that gratitude and love coming through. Feel that compassion. When we get an incoming of this level of love, oftentimes what comes up are the parts of ourselves that block love, right? That don't feel worthy, that feel damaged. So perhaps you're having some beliefs come through being expressed. Observe them and recognize these are parts of yourself, little pieces of you that are saying, can you love me even if I don't see that I'm worthy? Can you love this part of me because I don't feel like I'm loved, right? Bring that in. Bring them in. Just like they were little kids that you find on the street that believe this about themselves. Bring them in and love them the way the Creator's loving you right now. Bring that in and see the wholeness of the self. Remember to use the breath, breathing in through the root and exhaling through the crown. As you process through. And allow that love that's flowing through to now project out through that heart chakra, through the fabric. Project out that love of source consciousness, love of self, so that we can seed that energy into the collective as we've released so much. Allow this to fill in the spaces that have been released through this greater meditation. Project that love out as you flow it in, flowing in and releasing through the heart chakra like a great big megaphone of I love you. Not the soft and fuzzy love, but the deep down dirty love. All of you. Love all of it. Because it's all me. And as we project that love out through our hearts, let's also project out forgiveness. I forgive me for dividing myself away, for rejecting any part of myself by rejecting you. I forgive you for rejecting any part of me, for wounding any part of me, for not seeing that you are a part of me. I forgive myself for not seeing that you are me. I forgive you and I forgive me. Send that out through this collective. I accept and forgive all that's divided from me. Imagine that your hands are projecting and radiating that love out as much as your heart chakra is. From 3 points, you're radiating out this love. Now turn one of those hands back to yourself and keep one aimed out into the collective, balancing your projection and your reception of this love, this forgiveness, this allowance, and this grace. You can continue to stay in this space for as long as you need. you're watching this as a recording, you can pause it. If you're with me live, I'm going to go ahead and walk us through coming back into self as we just went really deep. Go ahead and bring your focus into your body, feeling that web, that fabric, but allowing your focus to come back into the self, in through that heart chakra as you inhabit yourself again, feeling those roots down deep in the dirt, deep in the soil. Trace back up through the roots. Feeling that second chakra, your passion. Feel how it's even more strengthened, pure. You probably have some ideas coming of what you're going to do with the rest of your day. I do. Feel into that solar plex. Feeling that power, that sense of personal power, occupation of the space. You know what you're here for. Feeling into that heart space that feels so big. Let's allow it to relax back into what is comfortable and graceful, what's optimum for us as we now move through our day of physicality, physical expression, as well as consciousness expression. Feel that throat chakra. So strong. My neck feels really tall. Feel into that sixth chakra, into your third eye. Feel that pineal gland just like growing, opening. That crown opening, already connected, full source consciousness coming through, connected into our highest self, all in alignment, coming present into the now as we step out of that space of working. And thank that space as you release even more. Thanks for showing up with me today. I love you. I'm so grateful. This was powerful. Thank you. We couldn't have done it without all of you showing up. Have a wonderful rest of your day.